When you wake up and prepare your child for school, you never think this is the last time I will ever see them, especially not the day before Thanksgiving. Your thoughts are more focused on the meal you will make the next day. Instead, you're trying desperately to remember any last-minute ingredients for the special day. Elizabeth Lynn Barr, 6, was walking home from school on November the 23rd, 1977, the day before Thanksgiving. Because of the holiday celebrations, Beth, as her family called her, was let out of school an hour early. Beth usually walked home from school with her brother and a friend. Her brother was homesick on this particular day. Her friend left an hour early that day to go shopping with her mother. She walked home with a classmate. Beth crossed the street with her classmate and started a 10-minute walk to her Princeton Boulevard home. She walked up Ardmore Boulevard past a public bus stop. Beth took a left on Marlborough Avenue, then a right on Traymore Avenue. A witness reported seeing a man carrying a schoolgirl matching Beth's description into a dull blue sedan with red and white Ohio license plates. That was the last time she was seen. Charlie Barr, Beth's father, was a Wilkinsburg police officer. When she did not return home from school, the police were called. The investigation took several detours. Beth was still missing. A few hours after Beth went missing, police went door to door canvassing the area. On Rebecca Avenue, a young woman answered the door. The 24-year-old Wilkinsburg native and her husband were renovating the home they had purchased behind the school. She had no idea what had happened to Beth. She was able to share what had happened to her earlier in the day. She was on her way to work in downtown Pittsburgh around 8:30 a.m. A motorist pulled his car off the highway, partially into an adjacent alley. She waited to catch a bus at a Port Authority transit stop near an auto repair garage. It was directly across from Johnston School. The man made her feel uneasy. He had the appearance of an office worker and was well dressed. He made a suggestive remark, which the young lady did not appreciate. After threatening to call the police, he drove away. He headed in the direction of the Parkway East ramp. The man, according to the woman, was not an attractive person. Her description of the car was nearly identical to the witness who saw Beth being carried away. The witness identified him as a white man in his 40s. He was 5 feet 10 to 11 inches tall with medium build. He had medium brown curly hair, a gray suit, possibly with a necktie, and square blue-tinted sunglasses. Police believed they had located the vehicle from a rental agency at Conley's Motor Inn. Wilkinsburg officers assisted in searching the woods behind Conley's, which yielded no results. The rental agency manager said the car never left the premises. 16 months later, while walking his dog, a Monroeville man discovered her partially exposed skeleton. Still dressed in the plaid coat, red pantsuit, and blue tennis shoes she wore the day she vanished. She had been stabbed in the heart several times. Her remains were discovered at the Wrestling Lincoln Memorial Cemetery in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, adjacent to the duck pond nearby. It is now known as Wrestling Memorial Park. Over the years, 2 people have been arrested in connection with her murder. They did, however, both have alibis. Over time, the case went cold. The evidence had been partially destroyed due to a flood in the evidence basement in the 1990s. Many people hoped she would be discovered alive. Her school saved the daily coloring pages for her to color when she returned. Her mother believed she would be returned home. Following this, many people's lives were altered. Parents kept vigil over their children. The children lost their freedoms, which were common in this era. Children who knew Beth were never the same again. The sweet little girl who accompanied her halfway home says it changed the way she raised her children and grandchildren. Everyone involved was terrified that something would happen to their children. During my research, I discovered that everyone who knew Beth in this story were moved. They will never forget her. Many say they remember it as if it were yesterday. She is still adored after 45 years. When discussing this case with others, I keep hearing people say, "Wow, those things just did not happen back then." This is something I've heard about in a lot of cases from different eras. Child deviants have existed since the dawn of time. Stories did not circulate as widely as they do today. We are now living in the age of social media. Thousands of children went missing during the 1970s. The difference is that these deviants now have more sophisticated methods of approaching children. They are no longer required to congregate in parks. They no longer need to rely on a candy or the puppy trick to entice children to accompany them. Beth's mother is very courageous. When her sweet daughter went missing, she was sure she would be returned safely. Now she holds vigil, hoping that her daughter's killer will someday be brought to justice. Beth's father died in 2021, never knowing who did this to his baby. Now he is with her in heaven. This case is still open. Investigators recently discovered some lost evidence and new clues. Officers are confident that they can still solve this case. If you have any information regarding this case, please contact Allegheny County Homicide Detectives at 412-473-1300.